Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Scorpio. If Scorpio is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, let's get started. Okay. All right. Oh, goodness. I was hoping for a little bit more of a calm Scorpio reading. I believe the last few ones have been pretty chaotic, a little manic. And that's okay. And, you know, it seems like maybe that's the vibe again this week. So let's see. Let's look and see what's really going on in here. I hope you all are doing so well. I have good news. I just got married. Well, I've been married, but we did our official little wedding thing. And I'm just kind of really excited about that. It's silly because people are like, oh, do we say congratulations or not? Because I've been married since right before my daughter was born. So it's been a few years. Okay, so let's see. We have some kind of, it looks like a wolf person with the head. I just think of that, of like a wolf at the door, right? Really just knocking, trying to sneak right in there. And let's see, what is around? We just have hearts. I really feel I have a few hearts here. I'm gonna get rid of some of this so it doesn't keep washing around. I really have this distinct feeling that there's just really a desire for not just love, but like acceptance, okay? These hearts aren't big and overpowering, right? But they're all over. They're scattered throughout this whole, and here's another one, through this whole bowl, okay? So I really feel like this is something that's on your mind constantly, something that is at the top of your wants and needs, okay? I feel like this is even beyond just like feeling loved or wanted, but I think that this is really more like wanting to be affirmed as a being, for who you are, being heard, and accepted, or just listened to, somebody to not try to force their opinions on you, try to change you, just to really meet you where you're at and be open, accepting, validating. And I feel like for you, it feels like it's not happening. Okay, I feel like you have you envision this kind of interaction happening in a certain way. You have kind of an idyllic, well, let's just say, Scorpio, I know that a lot of times, people with major Scorpio placements are very, I don't want to say it's idealistic, but like you just have a lot, you love beauty, Okay. You love beauty, whatever that means to you. And you have like a certain vision of how you want to feel, how you want things to, how you want to experience things, how you want your environments to be, very precise about maybe aesthetics, how things are set up, how energy flows through your life. And so when people do not kind of meet these standards, but also do not honor you in the complete way that you want to be honored, it feels like a slap in the face. It feels like they are dishonoring you. It feels like they should know how to do this. If they care about me, if they care about me as a being, they should know. And I mean, that makes sense. I totally, I totally get this. I mean, I'm not a mind reader, but like, I feel like I have pretty good intuition, and I'm very like perceptive about people, especially people I'm interested in or care about or whatever, I think are interesting. I pick up on things about them, just watching them, interacting with them, whatever. But I also forget that other people aren't like that. A lot of people are not very perceptive. A lot of people are not good at anticipating. A lot of people are just not really good at knowing how to interact with others, how to behave with others, how to be careful with other people's feelings, all these kinds of things. I mean, there's so many parts that go along with this, right? And so it's easy to really feel like, okay, I know, so they should know. I can pick up on what people need. They should be able to. And it's, you get let down. You kind of, in a way, break your own heart often, right? Because when we have these like high expectations for people in kind of a landscape that is a little bleak, a lot of people are going to let you down. So I really, I feel like a lot of this really, really, really comes down to this intense feeling of not being heard. Okay, not being cared for carefully, not being held and coveted with the intensity, the precision that you want, right? And as I'm saying this, I'm really, I'm looking here, I see a person kind of reaching out, and I just get this feeling of, and I'm so sorry about the coughing. I'm trying to get over the sickness I'm over the like COVID-y part, but now I'm just like left with, my lungs are just in my throat. My goodness. But anyways, there's this person really get this intense feeling of wanting to be held, but also wanting to hold, right? Wanting to be kind of the architect of all of this, wanting to be that maternal, paternal person, but also wanting the same energy in return, right? Just the perfect equality in this interaction with this relationship. It doesn't have to be romantic. It doesn't even have to be, I feel like it could be any level of relationship. If it's casual, if it's platonic, if it's family, if it's even just somebody an associate or somebody you meet in passing. Just, you want this equal eye to eye respect. I see you, you see me, right? And I just feel like it's, you know, at least recently it has not happened. It feels like it hasn't. I feel like you feel very kind of alienated to some degree, isolated. And, you know, I feel like often, for myself anyways, when I get into these places, which I do, we all do, I think, but I really put up a lot of barriers. I give off energy that I just don't, you know, it's almost like I don't want to interact because I know I already know it's going to be a failure. It's already going to be a letdown. I don't even want to, you know, go through the steps of trying to make something work on a human level because I'm already just like let down by everybody, you know, and it's like it's almost kind of angsty, you know, kind of asocial. And so this is when, and I want to bring, and this is when I'm going to bring up the card. We have the Four of Swords, and this is from the Thoth deck. And this is the card of truce, but also in any other tarot, it would be kind of the arrest from strife in your life, okay? Or strife, a situation that has allotted you a lot of strife, okay? So this is a place of not victory, right? It's not over, but it's a place of pause, a place of silence, a place of regeneration of energies, contemplation, trying to gain new perspectives, maybe making new, what's the word? Plans, I guess. Strategies, that's the word. Making new strategies, okay? And, excuse me, my goodness. And so, where I'm going to go with this, and I just wanted to point out, it's interesting because we have a little cross right here. We have a little crossing right there. Very much in line with that Four of Swords, right? So, where I'm going to go next is, and I just want to look at this too. And this is, you know, this might be annoying. It might be annoying for you. But this is really, I'm going to do my spiel that I do in these situations. And I do this spiel to myself as well. So I have to hear it, you know, too. And so I empathize. But when we get into these places, okay, this is so much about turning inward, focusing on honoring parts of ourselves that we find difficult maybe to accept. These might be those parts of self that some people might consider a shadow, or parts of archetypes that are not, you know, just socially acceptable or easy, right? These are complicated parts of being. These are tedious, sometimes tiring, emotional, sometimes kind of sneaky, full of anger, lashing out, whatever it is, okay? It's difficult for other people to accept those parts of us, especially if they haven't within themselves. And I have read, and I can't even think of who wrote this. It's probably something Jungian or one of his disciples or whatever. But until we have met with these archetypes in ourselves, whatever one it is, or our shadow, right? And had great empathy, gotten to know it, integrated ourselves, unified. There's a strong bond and unification, acceptance. of these behaviors, of these postures, positions, proclivities, whatever, until somebody has done that work within themselves, they cannot accept that part in somebody else. Okay, so when we, for example, let me give you a little example. When we do deep work about, okay, why could I never accept my brother, my sister? Okay, why were we always at odds? What was it about myself? Why was I always jealous, envious? Why was I always stealing their toys or breaking them or whatever, pulling their hair? And you do the self-work. You really think about what were the dynamics, what were the root parts of this? And you grow up and you realize you're a child, you needed this, you needed that. This was, a very undeveloped part of self. And, even still, because you probably carry some of these same feelings towards your sibling as an adult. And they flare up in all kinds of stressful situations that we have with our family members, right? But when you do the work and you really start to figure out, where did this come from? This is kind of normal. This is a common experience. This is something also that's just out of our control a lot of times. This is something about the environment. This is something about our social training. Even just the talk that we get from people around us saying, oh, those are how kids act together. That's brother and sister, always in competition. Two sisters, they're never going to get along. Whatever. This kind of programming that we have. And when you get to a point where you can kind of just, resolve some of the shame, guilt, whatever that you carry with yourselves, accept it, embrace it, integrate it. Then when you see these behaviors in other people, you can say, I noticed that. I noticed that in myself. I've been there. I've felt that. You're not alone. I accept you for how you feel, how you're behaving. Maybe this and this and this would help if you tried this or thought about this or whatever. Okay. You become more accepting in other people because it's not like some weird, foreign, unsavory kind of personality trait or personality disorder or, taboo in behavior or whatever. So I think that it's really important for you to look into yourself and where you want people to meet you, where you want people to honor you, to be accepting of you. I think that you need to start accepting those parts of yourself first. These are not just on a superficial level, going all in on certain personality traits or identity traits or whatever, and making that like your whole thing, your whole crusade, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's not healing necessarily. That is not really accepting and understanding these parts of yourself. This is just kind of, projecting out into the world what you yourself are having trouble with, right? So there needs to be some really deep self-acceptance, self-exploration, a kind of true, authentic meeting of who you are. And as cheesy as it is, it's really has to be a kind of courtship with yourself and getting to know yourself. Affirmations, positive self-talk, exploring within these parts of yourself, the different manifestations and, little details, and really spending time with all of this without really trying to look for external validation during this process. Now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't check in with people. Of course, if you have a therapist, a counselor, an analyst, a support person, somebody that you feel comfortable talking to, somebody that you check in, something like this. I think that you should always have somebody to help you navigate some of the more difficult things, but also to kind of keep you grounded, so you don't get too lost in when it gets tricky, right? But I think that, there's a difference between checking in with somebody and finding assistance with somebody to help you kind of process some of this stuff, and looking for somebody to just tell you, yeah, that's okay. That's, what you're doing is whatever is acceptable, or has worth or value. And yes, we need to hear these things. Of course we do. Okay. But I think there are also times where we need to go inward, and we need to be the ones to validate ourselves. And then once you start to really firmly build that bond with yourself, then it's easier to bring it out into the world. And I really think you start to, and this is maybe some of my my more superstitious thinking, but I do believe that when you've integrated parts of yourself and you really truly carry them with you in a way that is healed, that feels holistic, and there's some kind of, greater wisdom about this configuration, or, this sphere of being, then you really attract people who meet you on that energy, that frequency level. Okay. And then you're going to start bringing in people who you can communicate with about these things in a way that is more fulfilling, more honest, maybe more stripped down and raw, okay, and has more of a lasting effect, I think, on both of you, okay. And maybe this is all just kind of rambling, but I really think that this is so important, because this is where we begin really lasting change for ourselves. Okay, this is where we learn to have a lot more ease in our heart, in our mind. Okay, in the Four of Swords, there is imagery in other tarot decks of a knight coming into a place of protection, maybe salvation, even if it's just momentary, in a sacred place, a consecrated place. Okay, and consecrated means it's like a consecrated, blessed land, something like where a church would be built, or a temple, or a sacred grove, something like this, where you are protected, where you are safe by God, but also by whatever, religious system is there. So I think by really kind of building this relationship with yourself, you're also kind of really finding your own sacred space, your holy place within yourself. You are building your temple, your interior temple, one of your interior temples maybe, okay? And you are creating a sacred configuration for yourself. Okay, you are building the place that is safe truly safe for you, a place that is truly divine, a place that that kind of cosmic consciousness pours through, a place where that divine inspiration meets you, a place where you are unified with something that is beyond this kind of mundane base level, base reality. Okay, this Malkuthian nightmare, right? So I think it's important for you, while you're doing all of this easy work, right? No, when you're doing this difficult work, I think it's important for you to think about creating maybe a magical device for yourself, a sacred object, maybe creating an altar. And this comes to mind because I'm seeing these beautiful kind of, they almost look like sigils to me. This one looks almost like a Z. And this one with the little forks on the ends, it kind of looks like a sigil, kind of looks like a talisman. Okay, some kind of sacred magical marking. Maybe you create your own personal magical signage symbol. Okay, a power symbol, a power talisman, something for you. Or like I said, a magical object. And what does that mean exactly? That could be something that you hang from your wall. They're not dream catchers, but they're dream filters is what I call them. Which are just, I won't really go into detail what mine are exactly, but finding objects that are of importance and doing some, sympathetic magic. I like to tie knots. And prayer, tying prayers into my magical objects and devices, and just having these things that kind of filter my dreams, bring me dreams, filter my dreams. Dream shields is another thing that I have. My dream spaces are my kind of laboratories for doing potent magical work and receiving messages. So a lot of my objects are geared towards dream spaces, dream entities, and intelligences that I experience in those interior landscapes. But that doesn't necessarily mean you need to do this. The other thing you could do is maybe making talisman to mark your physical representation of your interior temple, maybe choosing a room in your home to align the room with talisman to each direction or element, maybe a guardian angel for each direction. There's so many things you can do. I'm just kind of, rambling about this, but excuse me. So it's less about exactly what you do and more about the process. And I think it should reflect some of the work that you're doing. So as you're doing this work, I think it will come to you what would be meaningful to you and what process would be meaningful for you. Okay. And let's see. I want to look at this. Very emotional. Not gonna lie. I think this is, it's just, I think for you, Scorpio, we've had just some months here of a lot of energies, a lot of ups and downs. I think we're kind of in a really intense, not breakdown, but coming off of that, feeling really confident, feeling really just kind of all about yourself, feeling yourself. I feel like it's coming down kind of to like feeling alienated, isolated. And I want you to check in with people. I want you to, you know, take care of yourself. And before any of this stuff, please make sure that you're sleeping on a routine if you can, getting good restful sleep, drinking your water, staying hydrated, right? Eating, getting sun, going outside, getting fresh air, you know, moving your body intentionally, and, you know, just really being empathetic with yourself when you feel like you are having a hard time. Okay. And really, I see that there's going to be a lot of emotional stuff happening in this next week. So, I think that, you know, just staying vigilant, watching your emotions, not letting yourself get too low, making sure that you call on people if you are feeling, you know, like it's getting overwhelming. And I will say, I should always say this at the beginning, but I'm not a professional, and I have no certification. I have no license or anything. I'm not a psychiatrist or a doctor or a counselor, any of these kind of things. This is basically for entertainment, but these are also just my 2 cents about what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling, my own experience, which is limited to my own experience. So take it with a grain of salt. But I really do just want you the best for you. And I get it, going from feeling really confident to feeling like, you know, a dumpster fire. Basically, I go through these cycles sometimes, you know, within a single day. So I understand. And, you know, I am here for all of you. You know, you are always welcome to comment and let me know how you're doing. And, you will always be met with respect and empathy. Definitely. And I think, you know, this is kind of the reading. I hope next week it's going to be a little more, you know, we're going to get to a place of a little more peace, okay? We can do this together. And I just want to tell you, I am really honored to do these readings. And I know that they can be emotional. I know they can be difficult. They do affect me as well. But you know, it is such a privilege for me to be able to do the readings. So, I appreciate you. If you would be so kind as to like the video, I would appreciate that as well. If you have not subscribed, please think about doing so, and you can hit the little bell button that will let you know when the next videos come out. We're on a new schedule. I'm doing 2 readings a day, so each sign will be read once a week. And in the meantime, between now and next week, you can watch your other placements, solar, lunar, ascendant / rising. And I know people like to watch their Venus placement as well. Other than that, like I said, leave a comment. You can email me. It's in the description. I also do private readings. That's also in the description. And, you know, I'm just sending you a lot of love. A lot of love from my heart. So, thank you. We will talk again in a few days here.